Great. Okay, this is a meeting of the Community Preservation Committee on September 30th, 2005 at 10:05. We're opening the meeting. We're at 131 Pleasant Street, room A. Establishment of a quorum. I'm gonna go through the list, make sure everybody can hear us. Tim,
Yes.
Neville,
Here.
Tom,
Here.
Connie, Joe,
Here.
Don,
Here.
Bessie,
Here.
and Steph, Glenna. Here. Okay. Somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda with just a correction?
So move. Second.
Without that E on 11:15. Okay. Okay, all those in favor, Tim,
Aye.
Neville,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Connie.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Jesse, and myself.
Aye.
Okay, we have one fund requisition. The building envelope, my comment village, should be a, yeah. $307,724 for FY 23. This one, the state, I believe, gave us back 750,000 based on that. There's usually 2/3 more than what we get from here. So all the ones that are coming to the housing authority from the CPC are being leveraged out with the state. So we're now moving back to previous approvals. And they're now leveraging back to the state. So it's not a bad deal. So we want to make that motion?
Motion to approve funds.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
That was seconded. All those in favor, Tim,
Aye.
Neville,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Connie, Joe,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Jesse.
Aye.
So. Hopefully she'll be there.
I started parking.
Okay. Walking from where? Over
She
there?
didn't park in here, so we're on where she went now.
But she was coming up the stairs. We're just starting. Okay, the first on the,
Be my
you're over
neighbor.
here,
Eleanor.
Eleanor. Why? Because they.
Because we gotta
people
watch,
there.
because we gotta watch you.
We've never had this many people around the table before.
The seatbelt, put it on.
I can't reach the floor. On his chairs. All right, the first one up is Wisconsin Trust Phase 3 Preservation and Sanctity Headlight. Representing the applicants for $263,249. Who would like to come up to the table? You got this one?
Yeah. And then I guess you can speak from where he is as well. Or we can swap out. Yep, that's fine.
Tag team.
Yes, and I'll introduce the tag team. So thank you all for having us and for the opportunity to apply for CPC funding for our Phase 3 preservation project of the lighthouse. I want to start by introducing us all. I'm Julie Reddickney, the Executive Director of the Wisconsin Trust. Robert Franklin's back here. He's a board member and chair of our Lighthouse Committee. Rod Benchley, who's our lighthouse keeper, and Marcia Fader, preservation architect, who worked with us on this grant request and other things for the trust. Just as a bit of background, as you probably all know, the trust purchased the lighthouse in 2006 and moved it off the bluff in 2007 due to erosion concerns. As part of that purchase, we agreed to steward and protect the lighthouse in perpetuity. That translates to our being responsible for 100% of the cost of preservation work, as well as routine repairs and maintenance. As the lighthouse remains a navigational aid for the Coast Guard, they retain responsibility for maintaining the light. Sanctity welcomes tens of thousands of visitors a year, consisting not only of our island community members, but also of visitors and tourists. Lighthouse is a treasured landmark that is sought out by many, and we take our responsibility to preserve it extremely seriously. Our grant request is for Phase 3 of our preservation work. The total cost of the project is $363,449.
Run that again.
$363,449.
That's the total cost.
That's the total cost. We're asking CPC, as you see in the application, for $263,239, and the trust would contribute $100,200 or 28% of the total project cost. I'll now pass it over to Marcia Fader, who will go through the scope of work.
So I'd like to just speak briefly about the scope of work, about the structure of the lighthouse itself, and about the work timeline. Phase 3 of what we're doing for the restoration and preservation of the lighthouse includes items such as, in kind of priority order, of exterior and interior coatings, of removal of obsolete iron embedded. There's metalwork, there's glazing, and there's some carpentry involved. And this phase 3 of the project is based on compliance with National Preservation Restoration Standards. It's based upon regular inspections overseen by the Sconset Trust, as well as our continuing knowledge of how that structure performs. And you probably could imagine that being a lighthouse on one of the high points of the island and being the form that it has its specific unique challenges, including different ownership over time that led to a history of inappropriate treatments of the wall materials and other materials. A lot of changes, as with any historic structure, have occurred. And also, of course, of extreme exposure to the weather conditions in its location. And its form and the materials itself. So if you can imagine taking a round form as high as it is and tapering it and building it of between 2 and 3 feet thickness of brick wall. So it's not our normal Nantucket wood framed weathered shingle structure. It's brick and no voids in that thickness. It is round and tapered and thick walls, and they're parged. And the parging is referred to, you'll see in the application, because the parging is kind of like the icing on a cake. You know, it's a coating that you often see on a foundation or a chimney. And so over the years, the trust has worked with the removal of a coating that was a Portland cement that just was not compatible with the porosity of the brick of the structure. So we continue to work with removal. So you'll see where there are spalls, and that's where some of that earlier inappropriate treatment comes off. And the goal here is to get to a place where all that inappropriate material has been removed and we've stabilized the wall structure. So exterior coating does not refer to a layer of polyurethane or a new layer of paint. It's recoating in areas where it has spalled off. So we're continually monitoring that action and how it performs. And the materials that come in to play are specialized, and their focus is both interior of this form and the exterior to be breathable, to emit, a ventilation through the tower, through the inside, so that we don't get trapped moisture in or out or in that brick, because the brick is very old and very porous. So that brings us to the major challenges, and that's again the priority order as we work this phase 3. There's also items such as you'll find areas of embedded iron from earlier lantern bays, from other fittings that need to get removed and treated, and to stop the rust that's continuing. So we have a timeline for the project, which would be to begin the work in the fall of 2026. And the window of time, it's also an unusual project because once we get the mobilization in, once we get the crew and the equipment and the materials in, the work is about 2 months. So there's so much planning that goes into mobilization. So, and that, again, the crew that comes, they're nationally, internationally known crew that do work on structures like this across our country and more. And the Sconset Trust has factored that mobilization cost into the strategy of our phasing, so that when they do come, we really have to do a compensatory kind of amount of work for that mobilization cost. And I think I'll change seats with Robert, so Robert can tell you more about that funding and how that strategy of management with the.
Before you get up, this was one of the best presentations. In the thickest. But definitely one of the most comprehensive applications we've had in a long time, except when you came the last time. And in 2006.
Thank you.
Okay, Rob.
Good morning, everybody. So Marcia's outlined how the scope of the work is shaped by the location and the structure itself. She also mentioned
Oh, well,
mobilization.
represent yourself for the TV,
Sorry,
who you are.
Robert Franklin. I'm the chairman of the Lighthouse Committee on the Sconset Trust Board.
You know,
Another important factor she talked about was mobilization, which is getting the crew and the equipment to the site, the scaffolding, the housing. It's all very costly. So it is more cost effective to do a larger project every few years than it is to do smaller projects more frequently. This is why projects of this scale come up only every few years. And you're well aware of our last request and the help we received from you last time around. Now, I'd like to speak briefly about how we plan to finance the work, assuming we're successful in obtaining this assistance. As with our 2022 preservation initiative, funding will come from three sources. Number one, CPC, as requested here, which is significant and for which we are most deeply grateful. The second source will be proceeds dedicated specifically to this preservation project that will be collected at our 2026 gala. We did that last time around as well. And third, from allocations from our Lighthouse Maintenance and Preservation Fund. And just to elaborate briefly on this last source, because it's the less obvious of the three, we maintain a donor fund restricted to lighthouse maintenance and preservation. It generates sufficient income to cover annual operating and general maintenance needs, including the year-round salary of Rob. It's not much of a salary, but he does get paid every month, as well as fence and grounds upkeep, etc. However, it does not generate enough funds to cover large-scale jobs, preservation projects such as this one. And so for these, we look beyond our operating fund and rely on the CPC to support us along with targeted fundraising and most notably for our annual gala, as I mentioned. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rob, unless you have any questions, to provide just a little final context.
Thank you, sir. Where's the music? Madam Chairman, my name is Rob Benchley, and I'm the keeper of the Sankaty Hen Lighthouse, which is an amazing honor for anybody. And I can't say that I've done the kinds of things that the keepers have done over the centuries, but I do my best in the context of modern lighthouses. And so Sankaty is an old lighthouse, but it's also in the modern era, and the Coast Guard considers it a aid to navigation, a significant one, enough so that they installed a new state-of-the-art rotating LED beacon. It'll be 2 years this December. And I've learned since then that they've decided there's 4 more lighthouses in New England they'd like to put this same beacon in. Gay Head being one of them, most recently. And also, it's a historic place, obviously. It's a historic building, lots of lore and everything. But in the modern times, and probably right now, there are probably 40 or 50 people up there roaming around the site. And during a day, maybe 200, maybe 300 people are there. I can't let them in because we've got insurance things going on, but they're there, and maybe 500 a day, maybe all the people that walk up the Sconset Bluff path go to Sankaty Lake. And that's wonderful. I mean, I'm just trying to stress how important our local life is and how important kind of nationally it's big and it's wonderful. And we hope you'll help us out in keeping it upright. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anybody else or open to board questions? Yes, commission questions? Oh,
Only,
I know, you do your thing.
only a beautiful presentation, completely support the project. Objectively, subjectively, one area is that you may not be aware that project management is one of the things that is generally excluded from CPC funding. And you have, you all are undertaking portion of that, and you're asking, a portion of the funding that you're asking from us is $5,700. It's not a lot of money, $5,700, but just generally speaking, for the sake of equity, we disallow project management. There are other costs as well that have to be sort of excluded from CPC funding. That have nothing to do with us necessarily, that's the way the CPA and the CPC is structured.
Huh.
So,
It depends on the project, though, because we did it for the St. Mary's rectory, because the priest couldn't handle the project.
yeah,
It depends on the.
I want to be fair.
We just have to call it out. Ellen is always very good at that stuff.
Just level-handed.
Yes. Level-funded. Any other questions? Rob?
Madam Chair, yeah, to answer, I don't know if this is answer your question, but when we did the restoration aspect a couple of years ago, I was sort of put down as the clerk of the works,
Yeah.
would be the local contact. If that's,
We'll make that
Transportation.
decision whether it stays in or stays out, but we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to just call it out in case it
Got it.
looked like that was missing from that, the overall photo.
Great.
Give it all total.
all right.
John,
You said that it's more efficient to do a bigger project all at once because of the mobilization, the crew. When was the last time that you did this?
We came here for
I'm due.
project, no, I know, just 21, and we did it in the fall of 22.
Two, yeah.
22.
So it's time.
it was FY 23, yeah.
So they came back and did an inspection in 24, and with the timing and all, we're here now and for 26. So yeah,
Yeah, they
we
bring,
had hoped for 3 or 4
they
years.
bring a couple of flatbed trucks with machinery and mitigation stuff for paint and everything, and it's a big deal. I mean, it's a good thing we don't have to do it every 4 months, because just getting the equipment here and getting
Scaffold.
space.
Scaffolding is,
Yes.
Scaffolding and space on
that's
the
always the
ferry.
biggest ticket, scaffold.
The whole ferry thing is wild, as we all know.
Yeah.
So once we get them here, we let them stay.
Tom?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of spending quite a bit of time up there over the years. I worked for the Wisconsin Trust about 12 years ago. And there was maintenance going on constantly through this one company. And there's really only and I'm sure it's still the case, there's only 2 companies that can do this work. Especially the one that does it, who's excellent. So the lighthouse certainly needs constant maintenance to make sure that it's as your other presenter said, that the moisture doesn't get inside and start breaking apart. My question is that, what are the latest projections as far as the bluff goes near the lighthouse, and whether it's eroding there? And yeah, I mean, you do maintenance anyway, but I'm just kind of curious for the public's knowledge, if there's any thought about having to move it back again.
Sure.
That was my question too, so.
So we, this past winter, we got added to the town's erosion monitoring system. So there are 3 spots at the lighthouse that are being monitored over the winter. So one spot's near the lighthouse, one spot's kind of in the middle, and then one spot by the parking area. The parking area and the lighthouse area did not see any erosion. The middle area saw about 3 feet. So another thing that we are working on right now is we are going to have to move a section of the fence back from the bluff. So when you come in, it'll be much lower up till, what's that about? I always forget which one is the cistern or something, and then it'll curve back up. So there's still some bluff, but we are actively monitoring that. We certainly hope that in the next 50 to 100 years, whatever, we don't have to move the lighthouse, but it is something that the board is starting to think about, if we have to, or rather probably when it has to be done, what options are. As you know, it sits right now sits right now on an easement on Sankaty property. But it is something that, especially with all the other conversations that the board is talking about.
It could truly be the lighthouse hole, like golf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can add to that, Madam Chair, since, we moved the lighthouse in 2007. We've lost 30 feet of bluff. And, what, Julie Ruddick just saying about moving the fence back, we're pretty close at the top and we've engaged an engineer and draftsman to come back and move the fence through the Concom. And I guess we have to do the HGC too. So we're good doing that, but for the lighthouse itself,
So,
it's a
foot and a
couple
half
of
a year.
hundred, it's a couple of 100 feet away.
Okay.
okay, but yeah, put in a half a year,
And
An
the geo,
average.
if you get the
Yeah.
geo work with that,
yeah.
those guys,
Couple
geo,
hundred.
the geo might run up that
And
far. So you gotta have that conversation sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
not
part of
due to
the-
run up. to you.
That's part of what
It's due
it
to you, but not over you. Right. You
Yeah.
need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is what one of the strategy things the board's talking about in terms of, you know, if all that goes through.
Okay.
What will we do?
Yeah.
So we are actively looking at all of that. We all, you know, as I said, hope 50 to 100 years, or at least not in my tenure. But
When I have people at the top of the lighthouse, 80% of the people say, "How much side do you have?" From here to over there.
Joe?
So the one thing is Sankaty Light, which is kind of wild, is that is going to stay once all that sand is removed around it. It is designed to stay in that spot. I don't know if that's ever been considered. Would you ever try and keep, so it,
The base,
from the base goes down 40 feet.
Yeah.
So for, I think it was a week, they were pouring concrete 24/7, so that lighthouse will never move. So I don't know if that's something you've ever thought about or considered.
if you can't get to it eventually.
Well, that's not the point. It's not for us, it's for the boats.
Sankaty had Lighthouse Island.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah, that's the way it was designed. To stay there and stay on its
yeah, we've
own.
gotta keep moving, but any other questions? I have one.
Thank you.
One question, this is phase 3. We've been involved in the other phases, guys. Guys, that's gonna pick up you. Do you have another phase after this, or is this gonna be okay for a while, once you get this one?
speak to that, or do you want me to speak?
We're looking at 7 to 10 years. There is work in the interim that we are maintaining the care and the ability to address. But this kind of work on the exterior coatings is required. We worked closely with the same contractor because it built such a continuity of knowledge, awareness of how it's performing. And that's the current projection in terms of the exterior coatings. So again, the goal is to get that exterior and interior surface, to get that stabilized in terms of restoration. And we're getting really close to that.
So there's no deferred maintenance on this, basically trying to keep up. Keep it,
There is no deferred maintenance. Each phase has addressed the critical areas, and it's not that something is going to sit and not be addressed.
if. We've got over $8 million in requests this year. We always have to ask every applicant, if we can't give you the whole thing. Because we have the largest group, obviously, is historic in numbers. We have some that are much larger, that are in recreation. But if we can't give you the whole thing, you can figure out how to make up the difference if we can't give the whole shoot match to you.
We would work both on that, and also if there is anything we can.
But you're
scale
gonna
back
keep
with
going,
budget.
it's not gonna stop you from going.
It
No,
might
okay.
delay, it might delay,
Yeah,
but we would keep trying to
Raise the funds.
raise the funds to finish the project.
Okay, because we have to ask everybody that, because sometimes it stops the project, and other times they can make it up in other ways. And you have a really good fundraising history, and you have a really good, obviously, an icon to use to raise funds. Okay, all right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great presentation.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, nobody needs any further information from them, right? Okey dokey.
Okay.
All right, Landmark House, rolling up. There's no M on Madeiras.
No. And there's no Madeiras.
Okay, I'd like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Georgie Sharman, I'm the Executive Director of the Landmark House.
I'm Jenna Brechnetta, President of the Board of Directors. We are here today requesting funding, as everybody else
Hold on
is.
a second, Tim, can you hear them?
I can.
Okay. I
Thank
never know
you.
what this thing's gonna do.
Okay, this time around, we are looking for a project to take place of patching and fixing and replacing a lot of plumbing issues. We have had several issues this year with sewer pipes that are old, that are backing into the building, which becomes a health issue for our residents. We looking at some of the plumbing in the building that dates back to like 1986 on the toilets and the fixtures. And they're just starting to really show their age. And we'd like to replace them with ADA compliant fixtures in the bathrooms and get the toilets going and the sinks going properly to assist our residents in their day-to-day happenings. There's a water tank that has not been overhauled in quite some time that would also be taking place during this replacement and issues, and some of our exterior piping, sewer piping that needs to be the suggestion has been made for a coating to be placed on the inside since it's so old, to keep things from blocking the sewer piping and to run interference so it no longer backs in. Last year, we had to do a lot of floor replacements and stuff when all this harsh issue happened with piping backing into the main building, since the pipes are probably, a lot of them are original piping from Lord knows when.
Clay and orangina, whatever they call that stuff, disintegrates. And the building
That's-
was moved
that's
to.
It's an old building.
Yeah.
It's an old building, is correct. So it's a large project, but we're looking for assistance at this time so that we can get this taken care of for all of our lovely residents.
And for those new members, it's housing, but it's an historic structure. That's why it's in historic restoration, because we've done
Because
the
we're
roofs, we've done, we believe the windows, you still have the $146,000 for the handicap, the ramp in the back,
Mhm.
which you haven't started yet. Okay,
So that's true. We're just going through permitting for that.
okay,
Right now.
and then you have, you still have,
Still on the
they
elevator.
still have $44,000 left from 22. If you talk to Glenn, and we can figure out what these two are, if it's $44,000 and $12,000 for other previous projects. So if there's still, you still want to keep going with those particular projects, or if you have anything left, Glenn, I can tell you what those were.
Call me in the office tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you
Yeah,
still
we-
have something left, you might as well use it for the project that they came in for if you haven't finished it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to just remind you that we do have the handicap, the ramp in the back that you're gonna have to do.
Okay. So we are, we are, historic and housing. And our goal for this year, we're thinking is, because obviously we're going to be shutting down also to the residential, we'll probably piece it together, but that's why we're trying to do the sewer pipe and plumbing at the same time. Just tie it in. It's going to be a complicated project, but an inconvenient for the residents, basically.
What's your timeline? I'm sure it's in there, but you're in terms of start to finish.
I mean, to be honest, literally the sewer lining will be probably half a day. So we would probably do, half a days at a time. It's very hard to know until they get into each apartment.
Right,
and see-
because it's a little exploratory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially taking out the
But
toilets.
keep in mind, you don't get this money until July 1 of next
Right.
year, so you sort of have to get yourself to that point.
Right,
Now,
Yeah.
we can start earlier, closing in on after town meeting, but the bills can't be dated before July 1.
gotcha.
The bills, clarify that. So
Vouchers.
they can start the
The
work,
invoices.
and they can't submit invoices, even if you had an invoice that was dated prior to July 1, you can submit it, but you can't submit it until July 1. Is that what you mean?
No, they have to date them after July 1.
Yeah, they have to post date.
Yeah.
Or not.
Or not. Okay, so I just want to make sure, because if
We have,
anything's immediate, then,
we have the elevator and the rear entrance.
yeah,
In,
get that.
so we don't mind holding, there's a lot going on, but
Okay.
it has to do with the
Yeah.
residents particularly, but.
Anybody have any questions?
I was just curious what the overhaul of the water tank is for, and what do they use in the water tank?
So we have 3 water tanks. We've replaced 2 we replaced one during COVID for the 2 sides of the building. And then the other one is kind of tucked in a really difficult place to remove, but it's 25 years old, 26 years old. So it's going to expire. So we're trying to get ahead of doing it before it's an emergency replacement, which the other 2 have both been emergency replacements.
John?
Curious, what's an ADA compliant toilet?
Well,
You've never had surgery.
It's height.
Well,
width,
most of the
Like-
ADA
And the-
have access to it. Are you gonna have to create better access to the toilet? or-
Armrests.
I mean, we only have what we
Handholds and things like that, is that what you're talking
We
about?
don't have to do that for
Oh.
every, but because we would be replacing all of them, they would be the height.
Oh,
wise.
just higher,
Yeah.
that's it, that's what you're
Yeah,
talking
they're
about.
long.
And then they have
Holes.
grab bars for
Yeah, you
the
have the grab
showers,
bars and then
all kinds of stuff.
Turning radius,
Turning radius under the
Sure.
sink, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of things that go into that.
okay.
We're
curious.
we're compliant, generally, but.
Some
Not
of those.
crazy.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Gotcha.
old standards, they're obviously ADA and AAB is really what they're under, on the state AAB, not necessarily ADA. But the AAB in the state is adopting a lot of what the ADA on the federal side has.
People might not know what the AED is.
Architectural Access Board, they've dealt with it because they have to do with the ramp and the elevator. Yeah.
If you've ever had any knee surgery, you know, those toilets ought to be the right height.
It's a state that controls everything. There's no, you can go to the state for waivers, which we do on occasion, depending on what's going on, but the ADA is a federal. It's been in
That's the
effect for about
guidelines.
30 years, and it's a civil action. Somebody wanted to sue, it's civil. But the Massachusetts was one of the first, besides California, that adopted an architectural access board itself. And they're beginning to adopt a lot of the tenets that are in the ADA. So people aren't getting so confused between, should I do one, should I not do one? You have to do the AAB, but you don't have to do the ADA, but you're leaving yourself open for a lawsuit.
But the regulations are pretty,
They're beginning to
compliance
track,
regulations are pretty similar.
they're tracking, but there's more architectural access issues in AAB than the ADA.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, I'm up.
I've done it for 28 years. Yes,
Is this the total cost of the job, or are you guys adding additional funding?
We do always add additional funding because just mostly time wise. With, the proposal increase is what we're finding, so in all our situations, there's always additional funding needed, and we do supply that.
do you have the total cost of this project in your head?
That is the current total,
Okay,
but
But you anticipate augmentation with time, the passage of time.
for sure,
okay.
no, I don't build that in.
Right, no, I understand.
We do that, we're grateful for the
Take
help
that
and then
into
Okay. Okay, any other comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you
for your
time.
Been working on the landmark house for a while.
Yeah. I know.
One of those buildings that were there, oh, it seems to be a need for something to be done. Old buildings. Oh, thank you. Stay roll when you try and get
Yeah,
up.
that's good. Roll it out and then you stand up.
Oh, and I did.
Hospital
very
thrift shop, are you guys here?
No, it's congregational church.
Where are they? Oh, I'm looking at this list, not this list. I gotta go to this list. Congo Church.
I think Brooke's online for them.
Yeah, but.
Oh, there's Brooke.
in person.
Brooke, are you ready to roll?
What are you in the other room?
I'm in the hospital and they're making a big announcement. Hold on.
Presenters are supposed to be in person.
She's away at a
I
family.
thought Peter.
Yeah,
Hoey
so
was-
sorry, guys. I was meant to be backup. I don't know where my team is. But happy to I'm very familiar with the project, so I'm happy to do the presentation. I'm surprised Peter Hoey's not there. So I'm not sure what's going on. Hopefully he's not having some kind of family situation. But anyway, hi, good morning. I've been before you guys. First Congregational Church has been before you guys many, many times. And our presentation or our request this year is really the result of a periodic review by the Nantucket Preservation Trust regarding our preservation easements on all of our buildings.
Peter just walked in.
Is that Peter?
Yeah.
Sorry, we thought you were running back
Are-
late because of the parking outside. Phil Reed is trying to find a spot.
Awful.
We've been here for about 20 minutes. Hi, Brooke.
Hi, Peter. I just got started. I was explaining that this presentation came out of the periodic review of Nantucket Preservation Trust, and I can just keep talking while you get yourself centered there, unless you're ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Send me in,
Okay.
coach.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time today. Phil Reed will be in shortly. I know some of you, and I'm sure many of you know Phil a lot better than I do.
Do we need to send the shuttle over there to get him?
No, he's in our parking lot here, and people that came out haven't gotten in their cars to leave. They're talking about how you all beat them up, I guess. I don't know.
No, they took about 5 minutes and they were fine.
Yeah, okay. So finally, yesterday, I called up Phil to just coordinate about our presentation today, and we were talking about how long we've been members of the church. And we concluded, while this is the 300th anniversary of our church, collectively, it's our 100th anniversary of attending and serving this church and in other ways around the island. In the interest of time, and here comes Phil now, I'm not going to tell you what we've all been doing for the church and for the town. I'll just pass these out. And on the back, there's a quick summary of what you've already read. So we're here and happy to answer your questions. Your middle name is Preservation. We know that's what this is all about. And Phil wanted to make a few comments about that.
Planet's coming down here too.
First of all, we'd like to thank you collectively for the support that you have given to this old historic building, which is so important to Nantucket. It is far more than the church. It is a community center. It is so involved with opening the doors to organizations, alcohol and unanimous and anonymous, to the Bulgarian school. We have the theater workshop. We have sorry, first I thought about
Trying to park.
from time to park, yeah. We share the religious facilities with Jewish congregation and the Bulgarian. No, there was one other church, I'm sorry. Assembly of God. And we also had the primary thing, the theater workshop, which was originally started. That happens to be the same age that I am, and that's 88 years old. And it has served as a gymnasium for the school, for the old
Basketball
elementary
team.
school, which was up on Academy Hill. It has become, was meeting rooms for various organizations. I remember one time when we wanted to modify the room a little bit. And we heard, you're not gonna take down those basketball nets. They were put up there for the kids and they're gonna enjoy them. Now we had a beautiful high school system with multiple basketball courts, so it wasn't a problem.
But it has been, and the theater workshop has made it a very substantial part of the thing. And these organizations also help us support the operations of the basic organization. We have enjoyed our relationship with the community, to continue that. But in order to do that, we have to keep the building up. And our relatively small congregation is very cooperative, but very willing and very helpful. From time to time, Peter or I and any number of other individuals have, when the budget didn't call for the repair, we found the money. We came up with it. We didn't come asking for it at those times. But the bigger projects, we just can't always handle. And that's where you folks have come in so helpfully and so willingly. We have not abused any of those grants in the past. And I'm sure if you collectively want to keep that profile of this handsome edifice, where it is on the island and on the top of a hill, seen by all who come and go. It is a real part of Nantucket. And the history of that building is documented. There, we just celebrated our 300th anniversary, so we're not going anyplace. I'm open to any questions that you might have.
Did you want to add anything?
Nope.
Brooke?
Yeah, I just like to reinforce that, or just reiterate the connection to our preservation easement and the full assessment that the NPT team did, that led to this application. And really what we're doing is trying to address all of the concerns, and it's a bunch of smaller things that come together to be a fairly substantial number. And that's why we're here before you today. So we really, again, I want to reiterate, I've been before this group many times, and you, CPC has been incredibly generous in recognizing the importance of this building to the community. And I hope you'll have funds to be able to support this project this year. So again, open to questions.
Just to add that Mary Bergman and Brooke did a walkthrough almost 2 years ago now, and there were a lot of little things. They're in the back of your book. I won't go into the details. There were about 16 or 17 of them, as I recall, and we did address some of them over the last couple of years, but this is the bulk of them. There's probably a dozen or so. In addition to that, the windows in our tower, the two other things that we're asking for support for, the windows in the tower, and the painting of the floor of the summer church.
And I can tell you from first-hand experience with Phil, when I went up there many years ago, those windows in the window rattle themselves to death. And we did the tower in the past,
You saw them on the inside. I
but
saw
we
'em on the
didn't,
outside.
we didn't do,
The wind and the weather are.
We didn't do that
tremendous
part
up
of
there,
it.
and it's just
One of my jobs when I worked for Howard Gelman was we had to go out and fix the fans up the top
Yeah.
on the outside. So that was quite an interesting day. I ran into town. I was like, we're gonna get a camera of this. So I had to photo of somewhere of me on the outside. But
This was after he built the steeple.
It was after, yeah,
after it came in.
So that was kind of great. But yeah, we did the clapboard on the outside and fixed the windows, and it was really kind of a great job to work on. So glad to see you guys still keeping it from those.
I remember the day the helicopter flew that tower into place, right? I was standing across the street just watching it.
I would not want to have been those guys that were up there putting it on the pedestal.
They said like they were working there and it was fine, and the moment they put the steeple on, they all had to grab and hold on to it because that was their safety place.
Yeah.
And once that hole was gone, they froze for a second.
They didn't have any.
And Howard Gelman, they're like, give us a second, we just left, and then they started working, but it was really an
It
interesting
was
story.
fascinating.
It was really great story.
Does anybody have any, Tom?
Madam Chair, if this is in our packets for the submission, may I ask that this is put in our next packet so the public, if there's anything not on
Yeah,
here?
Glenna has a copy of it.
Okay, great.
That's your only question?
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation. In your justification of expenses, you cite Boris Braun and Adams Nelly, Nantucket Heritage Painters having provided the cost estimates. I didn't see any cost estimates in the presentation. Are you just basing, I mean, we have a narrative.
There's a summary, but.
I saw the summary.
No detail, no.
Okay, but typically that is presented in, but that's,
Do you want them to add it or?
We would be
okay?
happy to.
I would like
We
you
would
to
be
add
happy to add that.
Yeah, just to be,
Yeah,
you know, like
We're gonna
others.
send out an email.
Are you planning to hire them for the work or?
absolutely. Adam just got the award last week, as you know, from NBT.
They've
but
done it before.
He's terrific,
And
yeah.
they've been doing all of our painting.
And Boris is the most honest guy I've ever met. He's wonderful,
I know.
hardworking.
Okay, so just provide that for the next,
And
We'll provide that to you.
Peter,
through.
Yes.
Peter, me, here, it's
well,
Glenna.
sorry, Glenna. I heard it from my left side. Yes,
So
Glenna.
you can email that addendum to me, the
Okay,
email address that I sent you the agenda from.
okay, great. I'll do that.
Email address,
Thanks.
yes.
Great. Jesse.
Just question being that it's such a historic landmark and what you're doing HVAC type work, the ducting, is most of that going to be done interiorly or is that something that that has been considered, basically trying to preserve the historic part of the building, not having proper, duct work going on outside the building and also locations.
I think Berkeley's got that answer.
I think you're confusing, I think you're
Yeah.
confusing applications.
Oh.
They're not doing it.
This one. Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, we're not doing any HVAC work.
You said painting floor. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, no duct work, though,
My
I don't know.
apologies. I got it from the other minute.
No worries. We do get asked by some of the folks that use the space when we're gonna air condition it. We're not there yet.
That's what I thought we were talking, I was gonna ask them, but-
Sorry. I apologize.
Any other questions?
Letting Mother Nature do that for us. That's why the window's open.
Any, yeah, cross breeze, that's it.
Cross ventilation's beautiful.
Yes.
Ventilation's good.
The elevation.
Any other questions, anybody? I have to put on the record that I am a member, but I'm not financially involved with the church.
Likewise,
Yes, and,
I worked on
yeah,
it in the eighties.
I mean, just to bolster what they said, because I did a lot of the history when it was on the house tour a couple of years ago. The Old North Vestry is the oldest place of worship on that time, the oldest building, and it didn't start out there. That building was moved
From the hills.
Twice.
to that location.
It was built in an odd location. It was not built in the original settlement.
Yeah.
And it was not built in the now town of
was in
Nantucket,
between.
in the middle of no man's land.
Yeah,
right,
And 40 years later, they said, this was a dumb idea, let's move it to town, put it in the highest point in town,
No, it's okay.
facing, and then they moved it again to make room for the
Make
stone
room for
church
the
in
new one.
1834.
so the whole big church was not there, it's just the back vestry. And this is a vastly historic, probably one of the most historic structures on Nantucket, frankly.
And what you might not know is when they built the summer church, they didn't build what you see today, they only built 3/4 of it. It was a 30-foot space. And 3 years later, they said, it's still not big enough. And two guys stepped forward and said, we'll close the space between the two churches and add another window. No charge, we just want a pew each. Because that's the way they paid for churches in those days.
And just for edification, we don't do any of the church, we've done every church on Nantucket except for the summer street church. Because there was a lawsuit several years ago about giving it to religious institutions. Because we have some of the oldest churches in New England. The lawsuit ended up with all of us doing, giving money to the entities to preserve an historic structure. Not because it's a church, not because it's a particular religion. We have to be very careful with that when we send this stuff to the DOR and go through town meetings, that it's an historic structure that needed to be preserved. So it's not because it's the Congo Church and it's a congregational group. It's because it's an historic structure. So just for the new guys, that's how we do it. And we get around the court case because that was, I believe in Norwell, I think, somewhere up in there. Okey dokey.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Hang on one
I
second.
was just gonna say, on the CPA, Community Preservation Act's website, there's a really concise article on that.
Yeah.
On exactly what you described to anybody who used it.
Because it looks like from when I review all the 100 and some odd other ones, we're one of the only ones that has this many historic
Churches.
structures that are churches. That we give so much money to, because the rest of the towns don't necessarily have that. we've got more pre-civil war structures in use than anywhere else in the country. So we've got a lot of movement in that type. Okay, no more questions?
Madam Chair? I just
Yep.
wanted to add two quick points that some of the maybe newer members of CPC aren't aware of. That we've done a number of projects in the last 7 or 8 years, all of which came in on or under budget and on time that utilize CPC funds. So we've been extremely accurate in terms of our project cost estimating and execution. And the other thing that you all might not be aware of is the church has recently invested $750,000 of our own funds in doing a complete stormwater management system that circles the entire building in response to the old system being decommissioned by the town because it connected to the sewer, the wastewater system. And so we've really tapped into our congregation's resources in that massive way in the last few years. And I just thought that was an important piece of background for y'all to have. Thank you.
But I do have to ask you, I forgot to ask the last one, but I know the landmark situation. Because we have over $8 million in requests. And probably about 4 million that to spend, less the 500, we've got to service the first 2 bonds, the affordable housing bonds. If we couldn't give you the full amount, I assume that will delay finishing some of this stuff, but you can keep going.
I certainly wouldn't want to delay the windows.
No, that's gotta go.
They have to be.
That has to go. Anything in that tower has to go.
Yeah, and some of these other things, I won't call them cosmetic, but they were pointed out to us by Mary Bergman 2 years ago when she and Brooke said, you know, these are not essential and immediate, and if we cannot find the funds, we'll postpone.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just.
I-
put that up
yeah,
to
I
say,
would
well, if we can fund everybody fully.
Understand.
Yeah, I would say the least imperative priority is the floors. Whereas all the other things are, you know, there's sort of longstanding cosmetic issues that we would love to have, you know, done, and especially since NPT pointed them out to us. While they're not critical to water infiltration or preserving the space in terms of keeping it looking sharp and complying with our preservation easement, that list of projects that you see is probably going to be as high a priority as the tower windows. That's the one that is the most significant in terms of safety and building envelope preservation is the tower
Do you know that
windows.
amount off the top of your
I don't
head?
see the items.
Looking for.
They're listed, they should be listed in the application. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe those were broken out.
The windows, I
Um,
believe, $13,000,
How much?
13,000. I was gonna, that's about right.
Yeah, Eleanor's
It's in
looking
there.
for the itemization. She can't find what page it's on.
23 has the project objectives.
Did somehow that get missed and Peter and are putting the thing together? There should have been a project budget.
No, I think it's in here.
Oh, here we go. It's on page 26.
This is 26, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So,
Those windows, by the way, are very, very large. And very, very difficult. We have a number of seniors who do work up there. And
Anybody.
it's so hard to lift those.
You and I were up there. I mentioned the windows back then.
I don't see it.
13,225.
Oh, here we go, floors.
13,225.
That's for the
And
windows.
those windows will be milled to spec. They're not custom, so we have to have them
No,
built.
105,000.
Wait a minute.
The floors in the summer church, including the narthex, need repainting, which requires removal of the now faded carpet. It says $105,000.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Linda asked about the
Windows.
the windows.
That's the
Okay.
must.
105? Okay,
Yeah.
so if we had to cut anything out of this, we cut the 105 out of the floors. Or give you some of it anyway.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if you funded it in part, we would probably initiate a small internal campaign to make up the difference if we
Okay.
needed to. I don't think we want to tap into our endowment any further at this
Oh.
point, given what we already spent on the drainage project. So we're trying to balance that fiduciary responsibility to make sure the endowment's there for things like a $750,000 drainage system that has no other funding source that we could secure. So,
And I know we asked the first time you guys came in was you developed a maintenance fund to keep the church going on its own, for
Yes.
just general maintenance, because there really hadn't been before that, there hadn't been a real objective to have a maintenance fund specifically for that.
Yeah, I think we started that about 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's one of the
Yeah.
times you were here, for one of the first times we asked about that, and I'm glad to see that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
And while these projects that NBT pointed out, Brooke's correct, they're kind of cosmetic, but over time, all of a sudden, it's not cosmetic anymore. It becomes serious.
Well, I know
So
the
we
floors.
do want to address them.
Okay,
Just showing the finance board, which I served on for a number of years. Finally said, look, we need someone on building and grounds. And so Peter, took that after stepping down after managing our finances, our budget, our investments for years, took on that project and we now have a man on the grounds who is looking for and checking to see that where there are structural or environment problems with the water related, and water has been our biggest problem at the lower levels, wind at the upper levels. So,
Full disclosure, I didn't initiate that job. I inherited that job from the lady you see on the screen, who 15 months ago, in addition to being the chair of the select board, seemed to have some problem with a windmill that I can't kind of remember. And she said, Peter, I need help. So I inherited it from Brooke, who had been doing it left-handed while she did everything else for
Great.
the church and the town.
right, anybody have any other comments?
I would like to thank each and all.
Thank you very much.
Each and every one of you for the time that you devote to this organization.
Yeah.
It's an important part of Nantucket. And it is appreciated.
Well, it's appreciated all the time you guys have put into this church, you and Brooke, keeping it going.
Yeah.
It's
Peter and I were joking, between the two of us, we've got 100 years in the
Yeah.
church. My 60 is 40.
it's a monster of a building
Yeah.
of all the churches. It is the most monster building
Yeah.
to keep up with.
Way too big for the
It really is.
congregation.
The tower is the biggest, it's, the whole thing is just a monster. And the Trump
Yeah, and-
oil.
Can you imagine it being full, those pews being full so that they had to expand it back in the 1830s?
Crazy. Perfect. Did you have,
Yeah, and if any of you have not had the opportunity to come through the Old North Vestry since the CPC funded restoration of that space was completed a few years ago, it is absolutely stunning now. Adam Zanelli was the painting contractor on that, and it was in pretty rough shape. And we couldn't have done any of these things without you. Exterior of the summer church, the facade of the tower. I mean, the CPC has been incredibly supportive of our spaces for years. But I think the most visually stunning is what we did on the inside of the Old North Vestry, including the recent parlor restoration project. And we welcome you anytime to come take a peek at it. It's really beautiful, and we're appreciative of that.
take the tower tour, but don't touch the windows.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you all.
Say picture. Well, now you wanna see me? Okay.
yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Okay. Okay.
AAN.
I think I see them coming in now.
Which one are you guys? Oh, you're the last one. You're the very last, you're the very last one. You having fun? You have anywhere else to go?
Thank you. Coming up now.
Well, how many members? I don't see Tim anymore. How many members of the public are up there?
I think he's there, just.
Yeah, it's just all screen.
Shifting screens.
Yeah,
Do you have any other members of the public up there?
no. I mean, everybody's here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, this is the Artists Association in Nantucket for 8 Federal Streets.
So,
And want to introduce yourselves?
yes, I'm Tracy Sears. I'm the Executive Director of the Artists Association. Francine Balling, Director of Finance and Operations. So, well, first of all, thank you for considering our application. As you know, we are here today looking at a project to renovate and improve our new gallery space at 8 Federal Street. And we are requesting kindly funding for that project from the CPC of $750,000. Our goal with this project is to renovate and improve this new gallery space that we purchased in order to increase our exhibition space for our nearly 300 local artist members. And the project will allow the Artists Association to deeply fulfill our mission, which is to foster the visual arts on Nantucket. So this location is very advantageous for us, as you can imagine. It's located in the historic downtown district within steps of other art institutions. So this location will allow us to strengthen our downtown appeal as a destination for the arts and culture. It will allow this space to serve as a community art center. We'll partner with other organizations to offer programming and provide them with the space for meetings and events. We'll open our doors to the community during the year round, such as island wine festivals like Daffodil and Stroll Weekends. So the design, our plan is to reuse the existing structure as much as possible. We're going to retain the existing facade, and which includes the patio, which is one of the few outdoor spaces in the downtown Nantucket area. The improvements that we will be doing will be keeping in style with Nantucket historic style. And these improvements include raising the roof so that it's in scale with the adjacent 2 buildings, making the building accessible to children, seniors, and individuals with disabilities. We're going to do that by lowering the building so that's street level. I don't know if you ever tried to get in there, it's quite difficult. And adding an elevator so that and handicap restrooms to meet all the codes for handicap and disability access. And then we'll also be making the building energy efficient by bringing everything up to code. So the doors, the windows, and the insulation. You can look at the detailed plans are on pages 20 to 23 in your binder. And then you'll also see on pages 3 and 7, we have tremendous board support. Actually, we have 100% board support from the Artists Association board. Our president and all board members are fully committed to the project. And in fact, we've already received funding from every single member to date. So I think most of you know about the Artists Association, but I just want to start by saying I'm really proud to say that 2025, we're celebrating our 80th anniversary, 80 years on island of Nantucket, fostering the visual arts for Nantucket. And so the Artists Association creates a vibrant arts community by 3 parts to our mission. 1, we promote and support, like I said, the nearly 300 local artists that are on Nantucket. We also provide year-round educational programs and art classes for youth and adults. And then we also have a permanent collection, which now is nearly 1,700 pieces. And so we're collecting, exhibiting, and preserving that historic artwork for future generations. So we've experienced significant growth, which has been one of the main reasons for buying this gallery, but it also is why we purchased and renovated 24 Amelia, which is our education center that we call the Visual Arts Center. And this is to accommodate the growth that we had, not only of our organization, but specifically our educational programs. And this was in 2015, for those of you that remember that. The center houses our Hale residency, as well as a gallery there in addition to our educational programs. And that project was funded through a successful capital campaign at that time. It was basically December of 2013 through April of 2015. So we were able to secure all gifts and pledges for that renovation within 18 months, which is really incredible. And thanks to the broad support of the Nantucket community. The reason we're here today is that we believe this project accomplishes the goals and the objectives of the CPA. And we think that this project will support, this project is to support the acquisition, of course, and the preservation of 8 federal in the core historic district. The project will be a symbol of continued growth and importance of the arts on Nantucket. It will specifically, in terms of its relevance to the community, 1, expand opportunities for the local artists. It will give them a platform to showcase their work and gain exposure to a global audience. 2, it will support arts education in the community. And we host demonstrations, lectures, and educational events for the Nantucket community members of all ages. And we're fostering that next generation of creative thinkers and makers on island. It will also strengthen Nantucket's cultural identity. The gallery will serve as a cultural hub that celebrates the island's rich artistic history, which, like I said, dates back to the roots of the art colony, which is in the 1920s. And lastly, we'll enhance the downtown experience. The gallery will showcase unique art of Nantucket, contrary to the emerging trend of off-island galleries showing off-island art. The location is blocks from other cultural institutions and will allow us to make the gallery available to community partners for their programming. So current examples of community-related events include the annual school art show that I hope you've seen your children's work in, and that's works from Nantucket Public School, Lighthouse School, and the New School. Also, we've done demonstrations for our AAN artist members in the Johnson Gallery in this patio area, which is an extension of the Sustainable Nantucket Farmers and Artisans Market. We also do craft programs for the children in that patio during Nantucket Chamber of Commerce sponsored events. We'll be doing that during Daffodil and again during Stroll. And then there's other potential opportunities for us to collaborate with festivals such as the Nantucket Wine and Food Festival, the Nantucket Project, the Nantucket Book Festival, and the Nantucket Film Festival. If you look at page 12 in your binder, you'll see our funding timeline. And I'll begin by saying we're well into this whole funding process. So as of now, looking forward from September through the end of 2025, we'll be continuing to solicit our top donors, and we will have secured, actually, I'm proud to say we have secured 50% of our total goal in gifts and pledges as of last week. Beginning in 2026 and the beginning of the year from January to May, we'll begin to cultivate off-island and seasonal donors down in places like Florida. In May through August, when our donors and patrons come back to Nantucket, we'll begin to the public phase of our campaign. And we'll be doing things like direct mail solicitations. In September, that's the big date for us, September of 2026. That's when we'll begin to cultivate our artist members, which will be closing the end of our, and which we hope to have 70% of all of our campaign goal. But it's also the date that we're hoping to begin construction. The construction period, based on the many contractors that we've spoken with, feel comfortable with beginning the project in September of 2026, close of Labor Day, and opening in June of 2027 to accommodate the artists being able to sell their art when in the beginning of the season. So that's the construction phase of our building. In July, we'll do a dedication of the building, and then in the remainder of 2027, we hope to secure the final gifts and end the capital campaign. Pages 13 through 17, you'll see our draft budget. I just want to note that this budget is an estimate. And at the time of the application, we had actually not received any HCC approval. I'm really excited to say we just got it a week ago. So we're ready to go forward with the project. But the next step is we need to go out to bid and negotiate a final contract. So the purpose of this draft budget was really our due diligence as an association before we bought the building to understand a timeline and the costs. Just want to quickly review. This is, like I said, there's a lot of detail here from this, and this was an early cost estimate because we have yet to go out to bid. But some of the improvements, as I said, keeping with Nantucket's historic style. overall, I want to point out, it's about $100,000, a little more than that, to do that foundation, which, like I said, will be lowering the existing foundation to make it handicap accessible, senior accessible, etc. We'll be putting in an elevator, which is gonna cost us at least $250,000. We'll be doing the windows, the doors, the installation, bringing that up to code to make it more energy efficient. That's gonna cost at least $200,000. And then this patio, like I said, beautification of the downtown open space, one of, very few in the downtown Forest District. So those numbers calculate to that kind of $750,000 number that we're requesting. But that wasn't the only reason that we came up with that plan. And if you look at page 18, you'll see we've put together a financial plan. Just going to walk you through that. Again, the funds required were to purchase 8 Federal Street, which we purchased for $3.5 million. Then we'll need funds for the professional fees, architectural fees, and construction fees, in addition to any sort of small fundraising costs that we'll have. So that totals about $7.25 million. To date, though, we've raised money. We sold our existing gallery at 19 Washington Street for 2.2. We've received campaign gifts, like I said, 100% from our board members, totaling 1.3, but I'm going to say we did get a $500,000 donation, which I'll point out down there. And we have pledges over the next 3 years, because some of our board members have made gifts over 3 years for another 1.3. So that those totals funds received less what was required means that we still need to raise about 3.7, just $3.75 million. As I said, so where are we looking to do that? And so we're coming to the CPC because this number, $750,000, was roughly 10%, of our project cost. In addition, being more specific, it's about 20% of the funds that we still needed. So I think that it's a reasonable ask. So where else are we going to get the money besides the CPC? The Mass Cultural Council has a facilities fund that opens up in December. It's a matching grant, and we hope to receive $200,000 from MCC. We also have naming opportunities, and I put down here $1 million, and I'm really excited to say that last week I secured a $500,000 gift. So there's a lot of community support and a lot of belief in our project. I hope you feel the same. So that brings us to over 50% of our funds needed. So I'm really thrilled about that. We'll have other patron donor support, which I think will total that second million. We'll have artist member donations. I'm anticipating that 25,000. Community support for those not involved in the Artists Association, but generally excited and supported of this arts cultural facility in downtown Nantucket for $500,000. And as if you've gone through the booklet, we have a line of credit from Hingham Savings, and we anticipate needing to draw on that line of credit in the amount of $250,000. So that's the budget plan that I put together. Looking at,
We've got to wrap it up.
okay,
We're already half an hour behind.
okay. I thought I had 20 minutes. I'm so sorry.
You've
Okay, on page 18, you'll see my financial plan. That's what we just went through. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. I am done, Linda. I just want to say that on page 24, you'll see a letter of support from various community organizations. So in addition to our board and patrons, we have support from other community members. And on page 67, you'll see our 2024 financial statement, and you'll see that the AAM is on solid financial footing.
Okay. Francine, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Sorry.
I got a ton of questions, but go ahead.
Maybe I'm missing something in kindergarten math level. You said you're asking for 10% of your cost. You're asking for almost 25%. this Scott Anderson amount is 3 million and change.
No, I was saying 10% of the overall funds required, which are 7.
Okay, so you meant the overall funds. We are only gonna be funding construction.
Okay.
So
Okay,
your breakout of 750 has to go towards construction. And then the other thing, and Linda, remind me if I'm mistaken. Contingency, do we cover that? Do we
Nope.
cover?
no, I
And
understand.
contractor fees, just so you know, so
Yeah, no, I
you submit
understand.
invoices,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
cannot be.
yeah. So
It always has that. in
Yeah,
there.
no,
It's
and I
not
want to
really
say that as a nonprofit, needless to say, we will be putting this out to bid, and we have 5 contractors that do commercial building that are interested, and that's our next phase. Because this is a gallery space, we have serious internal drawings and plans that need to be done, because obviously lighting is different than just doing a house. So we're in the process of doing that, and once we get that, we'll begin to negotiate contingency. Of course, we're not gonna allow that kind of contingency. And sorry, in regards to funding, I was just kind of throwing out the numbers, but
Yeah.
those 750, those are construction, the foundation, the elevator, the
Yeah.
windows and doors. Okay,
I understand, it's
Okay.
useful to have the full,
Yeah,
full
okay.
perspective,
Yeah.
I just want to make
Okay,
it clear
thank
that
you.
when you all submit invoices.
Thank you.
Francine probably knows this, just don't submit invoices for construction
understood.
contingencies and contractor.
Of course,
aware.
of course.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Anybody else? I have a bunch.
I just have one.
Never.
No.
The only thing that bothers me about it is, this is a historic building. So we are interested in restoring the historical nature of the building. But, but as was being said by one of the members there, we have a lot of construction takes place in the building that I really cannot see where it will enhance the present historic, integrity of the building. That's the only thing I have to say.
Yeah, so well, we did get approval from the HCC, so obviously they believe that we're preserving the historic.
No, that's not actually true, but go ahead.
Okay, so Neville, we are really maintaining the front of the facade, and mostly what we're doing is enlarging and expanding and raising the roof. Because this, for those of you, if you remember, it's the old Lucille Jordan building. If you go up to the second floor, well, you would hit your head. It's really like 1.5. So in order for us to promote, to sell our work, which is our mission, to promote and support and encourage our artist members, we need the ceiling height. And right now, if you look at the Cavalier, which is at the 30 feet, and row and whatever, so, it goes like this. So actually, I think it will enhance the streetscape.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. I understand that. I took a walk. I went down, took a
Yeah.
walk around.
Yeah,
For the work in the garden and all
Yes.
that. But I'm gonna go back to what I said before.
okay.
The historic nature, historical integrity of the building,
Mm-hmm.
is what I am interested in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking as far as this committee goes. But I also know that, there are a lot of historic buildings on Nantucket that look nice and historic on the outside, and you go inside, it's like the 1950s or the 2050s, like a futuristic thing. With all with the rising of the roof and the lowering of the building to get in, all of that, to me, it has nothing to do with the 1847 building. You understand?
Well, like I said, we're hoping that this allows greater accessibility to the,
No, I
Yeah.
totally understand
Yeah.
what you're saying, and I agree with you.
yeah,
But I just wanted to say that to
yeah,
you.
thank you.
That's really, thank you,
And
that's
we
all I
did
have to say.
we spent a lot of time researching the history of the building when it was built, the uses of it, to make sure that we keep the integrity behind the facility.
Okay. I know the building better than probably anybody in this room. My daughter was born. We lived on the second floor when Aaron was born. My husband at the time was 6'3". We did not have, I don't have my head in anything.
Okay,
He didn't hit his head once.
oh, I'm glad.
We lived up there for 3 years. When David Place had his antique shop on the first floor, something natural was on the first floor. There is no historic integrity left. This is what I do for a living. NPT is not going to give you an historic determination. They're not probably gonna hold a historic preservation restriction because it's not preserving the building. When you change, it was built right after the fire. It was built fairly quickly after the 1846 fire. The first building built was the Athenaeum. Then they started working themselves towards Main Street. That's why a lot of it's brick, because the only ones that didn't burn down were the brick buildings, top and bottom, Main Street, the Jared Coffin House, Legion. Retaining, there was no patio, I can tell you that. That
was a
patio was
cobbler.
much more recent.
Yeah, it was a cobbler, I think.
Yeah, there was no patio. Because we parked in that thing behind it, very difficult, suburban. So the patio is not historic. You're not retaining the front facade, because the windows, the doors, the height from the ground, the front facade is, you're gonna retain the first floor, because you're going to have to make sure that that second floor is going up. There's nothing left of the historic integrity. When we were living up there on that second floor and the first floor before that Jordan went in there and fluffed it all up, you could still see the old the boards, the old wood on the floors, because that's what we had on the second floor. The original floor, it's when they rebuilt the building, it was on the second floor. All that's going away. The roof is going away. The front facade is getting taller. The rest of the building isn't going to be there anymore either, because they have all these current requirements for insulation, new windows, new this, new that, and this. The HDC did not make an historic determination to get out of having to do some of this stuff. The building is disappearing. Now, I'm a big supporter of the AAN. All my kids have gone through there. I went through classes. I used to work for the AAN when they were in the Macy warehouse 45 years ago. For some time I did. And this is not historic preservation. I love the idea of having it in the middle of town. I think it's fantastic. I love the programs. I love the whole objective. I think it's fantastic, and I will continue to support the AAN. But as far as this committee is concerned, this is not historic preservation. This is providing a place for cultural enhancement of downtown, so everybody can be seen and they can have courses right there in the middle of town. But this is not historic preservation from the standpoint of this committee. That's the problem. We can't do something because of how laudable the AAN is and all the stuff they offer the community. That can have absolutely nothing to do, well, it's a great presentation, nothing to do with the jurisdiction of the CPC. We would catch hell if we consider this as historic preservation.
And there needs to be a restriction, right?
And there has to be a preservation restriction, which nobody on Nantucket's gonna hold. The NPT, I've already spoken to them. No one's going to hold it, because the historic integrity of the structure is gone completely. And you can't claim that hanging on to basically what's the first floor, even though it's going down, it's going up. That is not historic preservation from the point of the Secretary of the Interior standards and all the other stuff that I work with on a daily basis. So that's my problem with this. I can't go there. If it was council, contract review committee, because we give money, that's not there. That's different. If you're coming in for that particular entity for more programming, you would probably get it from the contract review, because we just need to get more money there too. But nobody's gonna hold that preservation easement on this structure. It's not preserving the structure. If you were maintaining more of the structure, some of the old windows, and their original windows are on the second floor, I can tell you that, but this is in a hurricane, because that's when she was born, during a hurricane. Great. And that's what I'm having trouble with, whether or not the committee has to make the decision. But I also found the fact that it hasn't really drilled down on the estimates. And there's a complete lack of specificity for CPC purposes. That also was lacking in the application.
And that was
I know
because
it's
of our
hard.
timing.
I know,
And
because of the
because
timing.
of the artists, we really can only close the gallery from September to.
But we have to
July.
consider that part of it compared to something like that. And like that. So there are a lot of problems with the submission from a CPC perspective. It was a great presentation, great submission, great programs. But from our perspective, I think we've got a problem. So we'll have to make a big discussion about this. But if somebody's not willing to hold that preservation restriction, we got a problem, because not enough of it's being preserved. You look quizzical.
Yeah, is there any other place that we can fund this in, within the house, like a recreational type of thing?
The only
of some
thing they
sort?
could have, but we can't do it now, it's too late,
Yeah,
was maybe doing something with the patio, because that is open space. And we have done stuff, as Neville knows, in other little pocket things around town. And that thing over there on Fairgrounds Road, and we've got Nisha coming in for their thing. So we have funded green space. But that didn't come in as green space, and we can't fund it under historic preservation, because when I lived in that building, there was no patio. There's no need for a patio.
Is there anything they can do architecturally to?
The building
Make
would
it
have to
more-
remain. And it's not. The old windows would have to remain, the flooring,
Well, I mean, that's.
you know,
fine.
more of the building. You can't claim a 15 or 16 by 8 foot section of that building. It's very long. If you go around Cole Alley in the back, or whatever they call that thing. It's a very long building. And it's pretty much as it was when they built it right after the Great Fire. But that's it. It's nothing's remaining.
Looks like more than half of the history is getting removed,
Yeah, more than, oh,
from what I'm reading.
yeah, 3/4 of the history is being removed, and you can't claim historic preservation on just the bottom floor of a facade. We can't do that. We get into a lot of trouble with this. As much
Spitball
as,
here, if there's another way they could.
No,
we get
as
around.
much as we'd like to support their programs and their mission statement, which is great, and everything they want to contribute, and getting the artists out there in public more than being way out there on Washington Street, it's great. But we can't, that's not historic preservation.
Yeah.
We do art preservation because we've done the paintings at the Athenaeum. But that's preserving, 100-year-old, 200-year-old paintings. We've done that. We preserve records for the town clerk. The assessor's office, the microfilm, Egan Maritime, but that's art. But it's preserving art. So if they had come in, AAN had come in, and I believe they have in the past, to preserve some of these stuff that's in the archives, that's different. But this is not that. So I just wanted to put that on the table, that we have to
education.
really, really think about this.
They have to be able to have a preservation easement.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the problem.
And if they can't, we can't legitimately.
Yeah. Glenna,
I just wanted to add that the historic preservation rule is that you need to protect the building from injury, harm, or danger. So, that is something that is a part of the historic preservation.
Yeah.
From the administrative perspective, and actually, it's a part of the act, that is the rule for historic preservation. Because we did the building envelope project that couldn't come in for housing, but it fell under, preservation,
preservation.
yeah, so that's.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why, and the church, the St. Mary's, there's some of these more newer structures. So that's why we don't have an issue with this, but we certainly support you getting a mass sculptural or anything you can get out of those guys, but it's a great presentation.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
great
very
programs.
much.
I mean, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic job. But it may be beyond the scope of what the Anderson did. I know it's upsetting because it's a big ask and it's a big project.
A lot of work. You put a lot.
We put a lot of work in this.
No, it's hard because, I care so much and we're, I feel like a historic association. And so much organs to the town in Nantucket, and we want to preserve this beautiful space and this problem.
It's just,
You've raised so far, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and we, I believe it's collectively, we support everything you're saying. But we would get into trouble if we couldn't get a preservation easement on it, and we can't. Now, I don't know if there's a way to go back with Ethan and see if there was a way to preserve
Yeah,
more
the
of the
garden.
structure.
Yeah,
And
well,
we've got a little bit of time, but I've seen his plans and I've seen what he's done to it.
yeah.
And why it's gonna be a stunning building. Fully handicapped, accessible. It's beyond the scope of the historic preservation under what we have the restrictions for.
Yeah.
It's not the first time this has happened in here. But it's everybody supports the organization. I mean, Tom, do you have anything to add to this, from a town perspective?
No, I would say that, I guess my only thought is that maybe we need to do a little, I'm sure that we probably, anybody who submits a full submission must come to the committee. Like, we can't just, somebody can't submit and we
Right.
can't be like, oh, no. But I feel like something got lost a little bit in the shuffle here in guidance. And you just went through a lot of work to come and for us to be like, that's completely out of scope. And I think that's a little, and it's no one's fault, but it's a little unfair to you. So appreciate the work you did. That's a very most of the presentations that we get are very detailed on the rationale and the reasoning, and this is what it's gonna look like, et cetera, et cetera.
And estimates.
And estimates, the numbers you had were really comprehensive, and I have no questions about, okay, well, this is where you're gonna piece the funding together, and without this piece, I know that throws your kind of calculus into a tizzy here, but I'm sorry that you went through all this work and.
No, and I think another thing to consider is like during the renovation, like there's certain materials you can use that you could say that we've done stuff to bring back some of that historic fabric. That you can get tax breaks, so there's something you should really be looking into.
Yeah,
that-
historic tax
Yeah, so that's something.
They would have trouble with that, because I work with those. You might have trouble if you don't save more of the building,
Yeah.
like those floors.
Right,
Like some of the other weirdness up there on that second floor.
like instead of just demoing and taking the dump, maybe it's just taken off and broken apart and reused in some way, adaptive reuse, so that Holly Bacchus would be a really good source.
What we suggest you do. There may be some ways to massage, we've got a little bit of time. There may be a way to massage what Ethan has come up with and not destroy the building. And step the second floor back entirely from the front facade. I've had to do that in Dodgers Park. The front facade stays the same,
Yeah.
obviously lowering it, but whatever. You don't raise it. You step it back. And then you keep more of it, and you find out if there are any historic windows, because Ethan didn't do an historic.
There's
window
no
survey.
historic, the windows.
In first floor, no. But there may be other things that can be saved where you can get an historic tax credit. That may not rise to our level, but may rise to an historic tax credit thing. And Holly, I work with Holly on these things, and you can go talk to Holly about it.
She knows a lot about it.
Yeah, and maybe there's a way that we can parse that building,
Great.
rather than go take the whole
Or,
thing out.
or raise the roof from the second floor.
Back behind
And then
the
sit
side.
along, yeah, but leave that roof structure and then sit alongside. So if they need more headspace, there's things that they can work up there.
Clearly, what the problem with that, and you and I work on these all the time, but if you try to rehab an existing historic structure. It's more expensive than wiping out the structure and starting over. But you're sort of in between, do it one way or do it the other way, cost more or not cost more, or not get something from us. So you gotta talk to Mass, cultural, there may be other grants out there, particular to art. Other than just Mass Cultural, there may be who knows what the hell the federal government's gonna do in 24 hours, but there may be federal grants. There may be other ways to do this because you are representing so many people. But any one of us would be willing to help you guys
Madam
deal with
Chair,
this.
and through the chair, would they be able to submit an addendum that may help part of their project fall within the scope of historic preservation where it's to protect from injury, harm, or damage and
That's what I'm
danger?
saying. You're gonna talk to Holly, talk to Gary, talk to, I don't mind helping you guys, talk to Ethan. There may be a way of maintaining,
But Rob
More
Anderson's
of
done
the
enough of
building.
these.
and we do pay for
Yeah,
historic,
he's
we do
amazing.
pay for historic,
Got
for
it, oh, sorry.
Scott, handicap accessibility
Yeah.
on historic structures.
I thought you did, so.
Yes,
that's
we
why.
did, but we can't quite get to the historic preservation part of it with the easement because too much of it's going away. We can't do that then. So we've got to find a happy medium in order to get into us legally.
Got it.
So
Can I ask a
we
quick
can all have a quick conversation over the next week or two and figure that out.
Great.
Can I ask a quick question? So in terms of the exterior, that is still historic. But
Yeah.
the interior is per the narrative that we just got, the saga. That's pre your ownership, your acquisition of this property has been more or less gutted and
Just,
there's
no,
nothing,
not got it, just the first floor was fluffed out.
but there's not much
The second floor is still there.
okay. So maybe hone in on what is still historic, documentable, historic, and see if Ethan, go back to the drawing board with Ethan and Sandy Kendall, is he still around? I mean, I don't know. There's other people who are all about historic preservation and see if they can help you whittle it down to things that you can do that are preservation oriented.
Go to
Possibility.
talk to Ben Moore, who did the church across the street.
Yep.
Ben Moore is really good at that stuff.
Who did the hospital, Bristol?
And ask them.
Who does the hospital at Bristol?
Did what?
Who did your work on the hospital at Bristol?
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Oh, he's great. He's another really good
You
one.
got Michael Galt, you got Ben Moore across the street, who deals with windows and doors usually. You've got, Mary Bergman, you gotta walk her through this thing. You gotta stay in touch, because they're the ones who are gonna have to hold the preservation easement.
Yeah.
And if they're refusing to do it because too much of it's going, that puts us in a bad position.
Got it.
So start talking immediately with these people and walk through that building.
Yeah, ask the question, what would
What
require,
can we
what
tell?
would you require for us to obtain a preservation easement through MPT?
Bingo.
And then if you wanted to submit an addendum, we would just need to have it before our first round deliberations, which we haven't decided when that's going
Yeah,
to
it's
be
gonna be
yet,
in
but
October.
so, you know, within the
or-
next week or two, if you have something that you want to submit, you can send it to me via email and then I can get it to the board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're willing to work with you guys if we can find a way to actually.
To discourage.
Not a dead end.
Yeah.
Okay, you did a great job.
Interesting building.
Because it was something else, when I read it, and it's good, it's very good. Answering. The first thing that I asked when I looked at the sheet, what items did you want us to pay for? Out of that.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if I can get that itemized, so
Yeah,
I can look at it from that point of view that everybody's talking about.
yeah, you know, Glenn called it.
Yeah.
Condense that and send it to Glenn, and then she'll send it out.
Yeah, and then my focus is. Give us a little bit more focus.
And reach out to Linda, because we can get you numbers, if we can't find
And it's
it.
not so much the lowering the building, because that's part of the handicap accessibility, otherwise you'd have to raise the whole damn sidewalk.
right. We don't
Yeah,
wanna do.
we're not-
We're not doing
Not doing
that.
So it's not necessarily coming down. It's all of the envelope, most of the envelope disappearing.
No, it's just coming down, that we're
Coming
keeping
down would be,
foundation.
I think that's, if it was part of a whole historic preservation package, going down isn't gonna take you out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Because we've gone up
Yeah,
and down.
we
with
have
that
like,
historic.
if you went there today, you'd see there's 14 inches when you first take that big roll
Oh,
to
yeah,
get up.
and then
So we're
you,
just bringing we're bringing that, getting rid of that part of the foundation, bringing it down there, which will make it
but
even.
if you can get into our jurisdiction.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Doing the foundation isn't gonna take you out of it, that's part of it.
Got it.
Which, that's not a bad, that was something we can afford,
Okay,
because it's part of the ADA accessibility.
okay. Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to fold your block.
Oh, it's not here yet.
Yeah, the MPT was like. How it involved.
I was trying to picture.
You're not why Ethan, they took away all that, I mean, I obviously lived in the building. Chuck was tall.
They can get their preservation easement, then, I mean,
Can't get a preservation.
But on now
You
with
got a
that
problem.
plan, they have.
no, it was out. Yeah, to go back.
So you gotta figure out how to keep more of the building.
All right, which one is this?
One hand. Yes, come in.
Put that.
But it's
Hello.
And you still get.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
Good, Nathan, why don't you?
I'm in a meeting, I'll join back.
I don't, man.
Okay, fold your block.
Good morning.
Ed. Introduce yourselves.
My name's Ann Doherty. I'm a project manager at Domain.
Nathan, also project manager at Remain, Nathan Scarrett.
I'm Robert Young, I'm one of the owners in the building.
At Folder Block.
It's 5 units.
I know.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
You ever been to my bicycle shop on Arch Street?
Bunga, like we can go back to the Bunga days.
It's got a bike in the window.
Mhm. Okay.
That's my back, by the way.
Glenn, did you get his name?
I did not,
Nathan Scarrett.
Nathan,
Oh, Nathan, yes.
you wanna spell it?
Skerritt.
Sorry I didn't give you a heads up. We were hoping that Trish, from Murray's was gonna join us, but she wanted to get on the ferry before the winds picked up, so. Robert very nicely decided to join us. Should I get started?
Sure.
Thank you. First of all, huge thanks for the monies that you granted us last year. Really appreciate it.
we all go to work every day at 58 Main, and you look at the building, it looks as solid as it could be. It's a beautiful building, but it has been neglected over the years. It needs a lot of work. We had, ICR go in 2 years ago and look at the whole envelope of the building. And, they identified that the gutters were too small, that the rain spouts were sort of going to nowhere. A lot of the pointing had degraded. The sandstone portico, going into the building is falling apart like as we speak. So we really appreciate the first phase of funding that you granted us. The first phase of funding is not that sexy. As I said, it's gutters, it's downspouts, it's a new roof, it's the kind of stuff you don't see. The second ask that we're making, this year, for 700,000 is for the cornice work, that has degraded and fallen apart, reglazing the windows, working on the sandstone portico. Some of the big bluestone pavers, at the foundation of the building have shifted over time. So, it's more not, I wouldn't say cosmetic, but it's gonna be sort of for things that you're gonna see. A lot of repointing needs to be done. So we're excited about the project. We hope to start with the first phase, put the first chunk of money to work after Stroll, because we do have the retail shops on the ground floor that we have to be respectful of. And we have to sort of work around them. So we're hoping to start the first phase of work after Stroll, weather permitting.
Yeah, we're gonna ask about that because you still have the 600. And 700 grand left in there.
Yes, yeah, we haven't started putting any of that to work.
Asking for more.
And Nathan has a lot of property
We knew it
management.
was at least
Oh,
two
I'm sorry.
phases.
Yeah, I think sorry.
We at least knew it was 2 or 3 phases on this
Yeah.
building.
One of this was in your stuff last year.
Yeah,
With that,
A lot of these things were in your presentation last year, and then remember you said
we
you
cut
got
it in half.
yes, oh yeah, the original estimate that we got from ICR, from Glenn Borzanian's group. The initial estimate was that the building needed $2.3 million worth of repairs and restoration. And you guys advised us to break it up, which we did. So this would be phase 2, probably of 3, maybe 4 phases. We don't.
Actually, we gave you, we actually were doing due diligence on this project because the first money we gave you is for the research on what had to happen to this building.
Correct.
So they could identify all the problems, and we paid for that.
You did.
When you came back, we knew it was gonna be multiple phases because it's just a huge ask on this.
Yeah. And as I say, it's been neglected, and a lot of the pictures that show that neglect are in the proposal. Needs a lot of repointing, a lot of water hits that building and it goes, it goes down Orange and Main, and that's actually something that we would like to pursue in the third phase.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna talk to the town about that.
Yeah, we're in touch with Charles Johnson at the DPW. He's really interested in pursuing this with us. And that would be to sink a retention tank sort of right in the corner. Right in the corner of Orange and Main. I mean, when we have those torrential storms, that we look out our window, it is just gobs of water that are pouring down Orange and Main. And if we could retain that until the harbor settles and we can filter some of it, that's something we'd like to do.
Well, the town, you said last year, the town was interested in working with you to get this resolved.
Yeah. We've been in touch with Charles again for the second phase of funding, and he said there's the technology's changing very quickly. He said I don't have the bandwidth right now to help you with this and advise you with this, but it's something that we would like to include as we wrap up the work. And Nathan's been in touch with another company that
Yeah, we've spoken with Kobo Utilities, who is well known out here, and a subcontractor that they use. That they can form fit tanks in the ground in real time, because there's so many utilities there that we can't just do a 10 by 12. So we are currently in real time exploring that option, which is pretty neat. So linear drains under the sidewalk to be able to catch the water and bring it in. And then it's what we do with the discharge after. Is it filtered? Do we wait till droughts and just kind of let it out at 2 in the morning?
But yeah, we're working on, we're thinking about a community spigot to be able to water flower boxes and all that stuff with it. It's pretty neat.
Well, for new members who know this is not a public building, public has access to the building. There is a part of the CPA that allows for us to do historic preservation on exteriors of structures that are in the public venue. And this is an incredibly unique structure. It's on Main Street, which is why we were allowed to actually fund the restoration of that structure.
Isn't there a room or something
Exterior.
that you can see? I remember you saying something about that last year. Like a,
We have two offices upstairs and then the other owners would be the Italian shoe store. Just sort of in between our entrance and Murray's, David Chase on the corner, and then Robert has a jewelry store tenant around the corner, and then Murray's with the old ink and mirror offices. That is all along the back there, and that's where Murray's has their inventory and they sell Nantucket Reds and all that.
That's where Jack Gardner was.
There is a common room at the entrance with
That's what I
beautiful
remember
original
saying.
stairway.
Yeah.
Right.
you said we could come look at it.
Neville,
Really cool.
I,
What's that?
Liberty does.
Yeah,
Yeah, Neville.
when you came before, I was one of the ones who was asking about public access.
yes, I remember that.
So I was asking about that. And I kind of got an answer that I liked and I didn't like. I wasn't sure.
Mhm.
But it's, you know. once
You had a
get-
good suggestion, I
You get
remember.
public funding, so we probably should be allowed to go up. The other thing, like so far, I just heard a reiteration talking about the new funds now. But instead of the new fund, I'm hearing a reiteration of what you did for what you were trying to do with the old funds, with the drain, working with the DPW. And, you know, you can't get the DPW now, but you got someone else to do all of that stuff. Why did it take so long to get an alternative?
We're not sure, at what point it makes sense to pursue the tank. We got a little bit of pushback from Murray's. We originally thought about putting the tank in the back of the building, but we got a little bit of pushback from Trish, because they do use that back area. We'd be setting a precedent by putting a retention tank outside of our building. The technologies are changing. It's definitely something we want to do. It was part of the original $2.3 million that I think we've shared, Linda. And we want to do it. We want to do it because our storms are more intense and we want to help the DPW by setting an example and working with them on it. And as far as the public aspect of our building, it's not a church, it's not a museum, it's not a library. We totally recognize that. But I think you had a great suggestion last year of having a bit of sort of a history lesson in the lobby of our building. And maybe putting signage outside, welcoming people in. I mean, because it is kind of an interesting story. It survived the Great Fire. It was a family-owned house, and then they turned it into two of the first retail stores that opened up after the fire. So we could definitely do something like
Yeah,
that.
like a regular tour.
Yeah.
You know, going back, but
We also have a nice big conference room up on the second floor,
Yeah.
and if
All the
Nikki-
molding is still there, everything
incredible.
is still up there.
There's still
Building's
chunks of
still
coal
there.
in the basement.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
worked there at Design Associates, and it was just the best stairway going up. It's
Spectacular.
historic.
very cool.
Yeah.
We have a nice big conference room up on the second floor. Maybe that's something that we could make available to the public on a rotating basis.
But as I say, it's because it's such a cornerstone and it's such an important building and it's the most unique building on Main Street, actually.
Yeah,
That's why
it's a
we're
very,
able to actually fund
Yeah.
the restoration of the exterior because it's not sitting up in some Pine Street or Fair Street. It's the bedrock of that Main Street. It does have a unique history.
Yeah.
Because it didn't blow down, but it did get up to 5 Orange. The fire went up the side of it to 5 Orange.
oh, okay.
So it's 5 Orange on the north side of 5 Orange, the gambrel. If you were to take the brick off of it, the burnt wood is still inside on the gambrel.
Yeah.
But it stopped on that corner because it was wood in the middle and it had brick ends. And it stopped on that wall and then it turned around and came back. That's why that your building survived and his building survived.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff with this street stuff in that building in particular. It doesn't look like anything else in Nantucket, let's face it.
We could work with Mary Bergman and Niles at the NHA and put together a nice display on the inside.
Right.
That's talking about some of that.
And I just want to ask again, Manager, is the water situation, is that contingent upon you going further to do the repairs that you're asking for in this plan? In other words, can you do, this is for exterior restoration, is that, can you do what you're asking for this 711,000? That
And-
work, can
and
you do that work
Eventually connected to a tank?
without, without
Yes,
having-
yes.
You can.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a retention tank, we would need engineers in there, we would need experts. And again, if this is something that the CPC is like, well, it's kind of like a community good, maybe that's not something that, maybe it's not restoration, that's something that we can all.
No, I'm not looking at it from
Cover.
that point of view. I'm looking at it from the point, I mean, they're funding it, so we've already funded that, but I'm looking at it from a point of view of, you have the $700,000 here.
Correct,
You haven't used yet,
right,
because you haven't had the chance, or the DPW couldn't work with you, and you said you just found someone else that can help you with that water
Right.
situation.
we're
I
looking
think-
at different options.
Yeah, I think where the confusion is one option is to just catch the stormwater
Right.
from our actual building.
Yes,
Our second option that we're exploring is to be able to catch the street water also that's
Yes,
coming down to
yes.
benefit just Main Street entirely.
yes,
Which then that part of it wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily be CPC funded. But the part of just a stormwater retention tank
For your
on
own
the
building.
back of our building,
Yeah,
that we could easily reconnect
so you
to.
can do that and then continue on with the
Correct.
rest of the project,
Correct,
but you have to do that first.
correct.
was that involved with the one money from last year?
The tank,
Yeah,
We
I
took the
don't-
tank.
we
out.
took the tank
you took
out,
the tank out because you
We-
didn't
yeah.
know where we were going with the
Yep.
town. And
yeah,
it's not in this one either,
and it's not in this
so
one.
we're not
but it's-
going anywhere. with
Yeah.
that.
It's
But you
something that,
could always come back, if that doesn't work out with the town, you can come back next year and ask us. to do things.
exactly,
Because it preserves the building,
Yeah,
because it's getting whacked with the storms and the water that's coming down.
yeah, there's nowhere for water to go.
Nowhere for it to go.
you've seen it, just goes pouring.
Getting into the-
Just quickly, I'm looking at page 23, you have restoration, design and construction administration at $163,000.
Uh-huh,
What is that exactly?
153.
163.
163. I did, full disclosure, I did put ICR's travel and accommodation estimate in that number. I know that you typically don't cover
No.
travel and accommodation, but they're the construction managers and historical experts
Okay,
on
can you,
this
on that,
project. So if it's allowed, great. If it's not, it's 92,000.
all right, on that figure, can you break that 163 down even granular? Break it all down as to which part is which part?
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and like you said, 92,000 is the,
Yeah,
Yeah, break
90.
Break it down and send it to Glenna and she'll send it out to us.
Okay,
Because construction management generally is not included.
okay.
And the second thing, and Linda's been asking this question of everybody,
Yeah,
is if you have to whittle it down even more,
Uh-huh.
because we have a tremendous amount of ask this year.
8
This
million.
year,
Well beyond what we can actually
is
allocate.
that higher than normal?
well,
This year, I mean, I've only.
it's high. We got some big ticket items in here and we usually have about 4 million. So what Eleanor's gonna ask that question. If we couldn't give you all the money and we can only give you a portion of what you're asking, can you also send a priority list to Glenna?
Uh-huh.
We didn't ask that for the other ones because they're smaller ass.
We did, but we didn't ask it for the last.
We need a priority list if we can only fund some of it this year.
This
We
might
need
be a
that
5-year,
broken
this might be a 5-year project. That's kind of,
Yeah.
Well, the churches have all been multi-years. We started
Yeah.
with Methodist Church in
Yeah.
2020, 2001.
that's fine.
So, but we need on a big project ask like this, we need you to break it down into minute sections and give Glenna the priority. So we have that to talk about. If we can only give you a portion of the money this year.
What, should we think about a number? Or should we?
Yeah,
think-
come down,
should we
break it
think
down
about
with
the job?
numbers, break it down with numbers,
I don't mind.
itemize the numbers
Okay,
as to what your priorities
priority.
are.
okay. So prioritizing priority 2.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
And you're gonna have
Within
the-
the next week kind of thing,
Couple
or?
weeks. Yeah, you got more time now.
Okay.
Couple of weeks.
Okay,
Anybody else have any more questions? Take a close look at the building when you're going around it, though. It's really.
So as the
very
boot, the cast iron boot scrapes on the stairs, it's really, really.
I love that front hall, those stairs.
It's really neat.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful buildings I've been in on Main Street.
We'll give you a tour.
If they do this retention and catch all the street water, is that a net benefit to the whole street? Is that open space?
No.
We're looking for that open.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like
Yeah,
that.
give some to open space.
I like
There's a
that.
lot of that.
No.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
And maybe when you get to the spot, when, if there's a plaque that says, that's historic building, et cetera, that could be a plaque for CPC.
Yeah,
Thanks.
CPC.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We require some sort of signage giving homage to the.
Do we need to go through the sign advisory committee or?
No, I did, we'll deal with that when the time
Okay.
comes.
Okay.
Let's not look for that.
Okay.
And there's a size that they don't have anything to do with.
You all, thank you for your time. You all did an amazing job at the St. Mary's Rectory. That, I park in front of that.
We're
It's-
going
that-
for some sort of recognition. for
It's
that.
beautiful.
It's the most beautiful.
It's beautiful.
They did fantastic.
What
And
is
that-
this?
It's 58 feet.
It's Joe.
How long is that? Here's an old picture. What Joe had hair.
I'm powerfully challenged.
I love them. My husband too. Thank you.
I wanna ask another, question. Out of this, out of this 711,000, are the tenants providing any funds in there?
We're gonna be taking care of all the HVAC work that is required. We've gotta lift all of those units off of the roof for the new roof.
And we also have, lawyers, Matt McEachern for designs, making sure, we don't trigger certain things, so there are some heavy
Yeah, you know that
expenses.
ADA, because you're never gonna be able to get in that.
We did the
building.
roof on my portion.
We
We paid for that.
Like 30,000 in electrical work on the roof that we have to do. New
We,
conduit disconnects.
Is it possible you can send, at least for my edification, just the amount,
Yes,
the total
The
amount?
dollar value, yes,
The dollar
some of those items that we've covered ourselves are
Yeah.
covered in the synopsis.
Yes.
Some of the things.
If you wanna just pull out what you guys are contributing to this whole project,
Yeah.
that's great, and
Yeah.
then send that to,
Yeah.
email that to.
and there's a lot of unforeseen still that we know we're
Well,
just.
the minute you start messing with it, you know you're gonna run into something.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that we're considering is putting solar on the building. It's a nice big flat
We have
roof.
the flat roof up there.
Yes.
Flat roof, yeah. Anything to help that prevent a third cable, right? All right, so any extra expenses?
Well, whatever
That
you
we're
guys are
covering?
contributing
Mhm.
to the overall project,
Yeah.
2.3 million, whatever you guys are contributing to
Mhm.
that, just send that to Glenn.
Yeah, we had two chimneys that were over on the Orange Street side that were really in danger.
Yes.
They were not in good
We
shape.
had those taken down.
Yeah, so whatever you're contributing to the exterior part of their project, it's great. Anything else, for anybody?
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
you.
Take care. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're over our time.
I know. Come on, guys.
Come on up.
Turning the buttons down.
But we don't get picked on. We won't.
So we only booked that for so long. Do you always overrun it by an hour?
No, we booked it for the 2 hours, 10.
All right, what in the future, book it for an extra hour because they will pick us off sometimes.
Yeah.
Well,
Ready?
Good morning,
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Pam Leinbach. I'm president of the Hospital Thrift Shop Board of Directors. With me is Mary Casey, our executive director, and Karen Bloomfield, who is another board member, and Jim Bloomfield, who is our project manager the volunteer manager for this project. We are asking for $135,000. We're asking for $135,000 to go towards an HVAC system with 2 high efficiency heat pumps. And it's to maintain the integrity of the building, our historic building. We have a preservation trust easement already. And you guys have been really generous and really kind, and we're so grateful for you seeing us again today. And if there are any questions, I wanted to make it simple and sweet for you guys.
You still have 21 grand left in one of those accounts. You might want to have that conversation with Glenn.
Good enough.
Yeah,
It has to be within the scope of what that was in You can use that 2 years ago, but you
Yeah.
still have some money left and there's still parts not done.
Part that was, I know Collins, work was not done, the foundation work, and I know you and I talked last
Right.
December. I did write a letter and we gave back money from the prior grant. I believe.
Okay,
That was, you have small amount.
but
Yeah,
this is,
21.
yeah, this is from fiscal year 25,
2 years ago.
21,000.
them coming before the.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Well, I submitted quite a large reimbursement, but that was for Rudy, for the floors and all that, so
Okay.
maybe there's been money.
Okay.
Have the conversation with Glenn, maybe, yeah.
This is, can I,
Showing.
can we have the conversation, then I'll get, Glenn, this is one of my
Just
projects, yeah.
keep that in mind,
Yeah.
Okay.
check with Glenna
Yeah.
about
Well, we
if you have
talked about
stuff to do with that money. I don't want to
Yeah.
take it back if I don't have to.
We're talking about it.
Oh, letter, are you guys done with your presentation?
Well, we can go on.
Well, yeah.
You all are familiar with us and have been very kind, very
You don't have
generous to us in the past.
Have you?
I don't wanna, we're last, we don't
They've been
wanna.
asking for years for
No.
little money, little money, little money,
Yeah.
little money. They're the only ones that have done that over time, so,
I just want to ask you a question.
yeah, go.
Have you contacted Mass Save about your?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And we're anticipating a $24,000 grant.
There you go.
So we've gotten information from Mass Save. I can give you a little bit of background on the,
Oh, yes, they did, okay.
sorry,
Jim Bloomfield. This is Jim Bloomfield. This is a volunteer project, yeah.
Yes.
a little bit of background on the systems that have been in the building. It was originally wood burning fireplaces,
Yeah.
central stack, multiple fireplaces on the first and second floors. From basically the detective work we've done around the building, at one time it had radiators, so probably hot water
That's right.
radiators. Those have all been removed. There's evidence of a ducted forced air system. There's some floor grates in the floor, first floor. And then finally, there are some scattered radiant electric heat along the wall, that are basically not very functional. So and all of the mechanicals that were in the basement at one time have been stripped out. So any evidence of whether it was a oil burning system or a town gas system or something like that has all been removed. So that's the best we can tell for what the building looked like at one time. At one time, it did have heating. Currently, the heating is restricted to basically portable space heaters in the winter.
Yeah, oh, good.
Right, so the shop starts accepting donations in January. There are volunteers in there January through opening in May. And all of the heating associated with volunteers is either self-generated,
Yeah.
because they're wearing coats and hats and scarves or the limited number of space heaters. In the summertime,
Oh, it's brutal.
it is, the AC is provided by something on the order of 18 to 22 window AC units.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, which is needless to say, not the most efficient way to both heat or cool the place. So that's where it currently sits.
Yeah, and you have insulation in this?
Yeah,
building?
yeah, how's the thermal value?
Probably not great,
Yeah.
honestly.
1792, yeah.
There's limited things you can do to effectively insulate the place.
You could, this is a big project, but you could do exterior rigid. To insulate.
Oh, yeah.
Exterior rigid foam.
Yeah,
When-
well,
at the
panels
t- at
and
the-
then shingle back.
yeah, at the
over.
time when
That's a
you're-
big project for you.
Yeah.
Maybe
And-
you ask for that in the future.
Perhaps we,
After you guys don't have so many other projects ahead of us.
when we get to the point where it needs reshingling or
Yeah,
refacing on the front where it has clapboards, that might be something to consider again.
I just.
How new are the doors and windows?
There's been some window work done in the last
Yeah.
5 years.
Michael's son, yeah.
Michael Galt did a
Okay, yeah.
bunch of work,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the
They're still in.
doors have been replaced.
And you parsed the foundation too.
Sorry?
Yeah, we pushed it back
Yeah,
in, the
we-
foundation, because it was
pushed it back
back
in.
in. It
Well,
was one of the
yeah.
first time they came in.
Yeah, yes.
Now, is this system's gonna give you heat and cold?
Correct. Maintaining the integrity of the original plaster and so forth, but
We're not burying in the, I mean, the temperatures have been, the walls will crack. If
Yeah.
there's cold, if it's no heat in there, the walls will crack and shift.
We do have trouble with that because we have often, well, Rudy, painter, who you may recognize his name, has done all the work for us since we started these projects. It just cracks and falls off to the ceilings, especially on the second
So you
floor.
gotta maintain a certain 55 degrees.
Base minimum.
Yeah.
The other thing is I looked into years ago, getting an alarm system installed in the building because of the space heaters, but just in general, if God forbid there was a fire or anything that happened when the building was closed up and no one was there. And the person that I met with, expressed that we weren't able to do that because of the extreme temperature that it drops to, and it has to be maintained at a certain temperature. I mean, this was years ago, maybe things have changed, just like with the splits.
No, it's.
Yeah, so
When it
that is
comes to
also
fire.
a concern. I mean, it's not really for really like that, but it's more like God forbid it's a fire, you know, and nobody was, the building was locked up.
We should have a direct line from the building to the fire department, like the guest houses do, and not just a freestanding, because nobody's gonna hear it over there.
Right, but we couldn't do that at the time. I can't remember which alarm company, but they
Yeah.
said because of it was during the winter when he met with me.
The temperature flux
now.
Yeah, fluctuate.
Would you like to have also being able to keep the water on, be helpful since we have had. This year.
Yeah, we had a sewer problem earlier this year.
Yeah, we normally shut the water off in
Everybody else.
December.
Do you guys have a plan for location of condensers and ductwork?
Yeah, it's in the
picture.
In there. Plus, they also have a raised foundation in the back.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Just behind the
So
building, right?
there's a.
It's on the side of the
Yeah.
building, so. West side, it's about 7 feet wide and 50 some odd feet long, so there's plenty of room for
Right,
the.
you have to stay out of the setbacks on the sides.
Yeah.
Okay, or the rear.
Or you get
The rear.
Hang
You guys-
Actually, you're an ROH, I believe, and you have 0 front and 5 and 5. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
No, it's a variance.
The units are approximately 1.5 feet wide, so.
Yeah, they're narrow lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're vertical and,
right,
okay,
that's in the.
Yeah.
package.
you have enough room. Anybody else have any questions? You've been, I just have to say about these projects at the workshop. They've been very judicious about spending money, about their requests one at a time, you know, and spreading it out over several years. And they have managed their money incredibly well and have generally spent what they were given and got the project completed. So I've got to say that they've been very responsible grantees over the years.
Thank you.
They will. And it's not an easy building. You ever been around the back of it? You ever gone around the back of this?
That's my house.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
92. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment before we adjourn?
Yeah, we're not turning yet, we're talking about dates, that's on, we know that, I already went over that. Well, I anticipated that.
You weren't here for it.
If you so deem, can we talk about this next meeting? And what we're gonna do about all this?
Yeah.
As an agenda item, okay.
Keep this on separately about what's out there still outstanding out there. Because I wanna go after people that have these amounts and find out, everybody has to take a view and find out if they wanna give it back or they're done. Because some are surprised if they still have money left and they haven't completed the project.
Yep.
So those are the things we have to, so we can get the money back. That's a separate warrant article. But we can't spend it this year, we spend it next year. Okay, so we got dates. Anybody? Who's going away when? Let's start there. November, what?
The week of the 10th, and I'll be back basically in the country on the 19th.
That's the 19th. Okay.
Oh, I'd have to be remote on the 19th, but I could do it.
Okay. I'm going away twice. I've been away for a year. We're going away this Saturday through the 11th. And then I'm going away from the 18th to the 28th of October. Okay. Anybody else?
October 14th and 15th.
Hold on, Jesse.
I'm here, but I have, people coming there that I'm going to be hosting.
Okay, 14th and the 15th you're out?
Yeah,
Okay, John, you're,
I already took my vacation this year. I'm
I
getting
know you did.
Costa Rica.
It-
Thank
Tim
you,
is on vacation 21 of October to November 4.
Hold on, October 21
Yes,
to
to November 4.
Okay, Joe,
Going nowhere.
get rid of gone places.
Sorry, it's on.
I'm going around when Eleanor is.
All right, so that's November 10th, like the 19th kind of thing. I don't want to deal with that with you guys anyway. What about you? You never go anywhere.
But that first week in November, we have, the go live of our computer system. So I'll have limited availability. I mean, I can,
So that's November 1st to like the 8th or
yeah, but I can, if I can zoom in, I can do that.
yeah, we're gonna, it's always posted. Neville, are you going anywhere?
You know, other than my regular meetings and all that, except I have guests coming and I'm not gonna do anything except from the 16th of October to
Okay,
the 19th. I'm not gonna be available.
you're not available?
I am not gonna be
Okay.
available.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who am I missing?
Someone on here?
How many do you have? You?
I put myself down.
One, two,
Pretty much myself.
Oh, Joe, going nowhere.
You know.
Oh, no, I mean.
Okay, so that leaves,
Not much.
And John, you're not going to work or?
Not anywhere, yeah, like this. And we'll sit with
Okay.
that and we'll tell them. It's just-
so
Can't sing, man.
we have issues in October.
Listen, thank you. That was, listen.
Yeah, she did a great job, man.
Jesse's not here 14th and 15th. Neville is
I don't know how that's gonna be possible.
Where is it now? 16th through 19th. 13th is a holiday. And I believe. So you can always watch the video. But it looks like everybody is, no, Neville's not the 16th. It looks like everybody's available.
15th,
You have people here the 15th.
14th, 15th, yeah.
Yeah, Neville's out the 16th, but those are the only two, 14th, 15, and 16 are the only dates that week that we get most everybody but one.
Well, okay,
Monday's a holiday.
And Monday's
14th, 15th, okay, I'll tell you what. My guest comes on the 16th. I will come here on the 16th if you're gonna have a meeting in the morning.
Well, yeah, we can always start them earlier too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, that's, we normally started them at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And,
That'd be wonderful.
and historically, they have been done in person only. I don't know how everybody feels about that, especially with the presenters. They're supposed to be in person.
Yeah, I think most of them are okay, and it's not COVID anymore.
So moving forward.
All right, the 16th is a Thursday.
Yep.
Does that seem like most of us are here?
November, October.
October the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, October 16th and start at
Ellen?
9.
Oh,
I am here.
Yeah. Okay,
16th.
At this location?
yeah,
well, if it's available, I have
it's
to. be
available. I mean, this
You
is,
send us emails.
this is
Yeah, yeah.
such an intimate for this type of interview
Right.
thing, so they're not standing over at the microphone or
Mhm.
sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
So this works for them.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bad conversation for us.
I'll send the
We
email
can,
before I
you know,
leave
talk amongst
to make
us.
sure that it's.
What about you on
available.
vacation? We didn't ask Conrad for vacation.
I don't know where I don't have my dates. I know I'm going to be away, for an appointment on the 8th. But, and then,
We're not meeting then anyway.
yeah, I know.
Okay,
So,
All right.
but I will look through and I think I'm around on the 16th though.
and do you think we can finish? Holly's doing all 4 of those. 1, 2, 6.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to finish them all that day.
We can finish historic preservation that day, can't we?
Oh, historic
Yeah.
preservation,
Try to
yeah.
get all
Yeah,
historic
historic
preservation out there
preservation.
and book it all the way to noon or 1 o'clock, just in case we run to 12:05 and they try to kick us off.
Okay,
Try to get all the rest of historic preservation on it,
okay.
because Holly's are gonna be very succinct.
Yeah,
1, 2,
I'm
3,
welcome.
4, and they're gonna be
You didn't
short.
forget, I will walk that with you.
Don't give anybody a half hour.
I didn't.
We know.
We
everybody
never
here.
give anybody a half
Maybe
hour.
extra time.
Everybody just ran over.
Yeah, we know everybody here, except for the old mill. That may take a little bit longer, because there's a lot of
Madam
that
Chair.
up there. Yes, Tom.
Through you to Glenda, I ran into Mark Vanacore, president of the Panther Racquet Sports Association, and he asked if he could go before October 19th.
Oh,
So if we could schedule him on the 16th, that I know that
Well,
might
that,
throw the order. a
yeah,
little
it,
bit, but
it
that
does
would be-
throw the order
Yeah,
and then
he's traveling.
cause he did let me know that he was going
Okay.
to be away.
Okay.
Yeah. he told
Actually, we
me,
could
and
probably do that.
And I
because
emailed him.
Okay,
I
good.
did, yeah,
Okay, I just haven't-
I responded to him.
great, I
Yeah.
just haven't seen him.
Because those 7, 8, 9, and 10 are very specific and should not take very long at all.
The town ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
The
related.
Preservation Institute, all of those, Holly put all 4 of those in.
They're related.
So then we gotta argue about the next one. And then we already know what the Hadwin House is, because we've had them before. Then go ahead and schedule them last. Of
Oh, the
that,
historical.
right after
NHA.
historical, schedule the racket club.
NIFR's pretty straightforward.
Because we have the 4 that Holly put in, we have NISDA, we have Hadwin House. And we have the old mill, and then put them right after that. Because if we start at 9, we should be able to get to them. If everybody keeps moving along.
If you start at 9, everybody just take to tight time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those
Yeah.
first 4 are gonna be short.
Again, just gotta be careful when you, only take 5 minutes to interview. Two questions. That's really. We'll be able to get a
What
lot
about
done.
putting NIFR on there at the same time? That's gonna be NIFR food and rental systems. That's pretty straightforward.
All
And
right,
it's only
we
one in that
want- that's like
category.
5 minutes.
Yeah, she's,
Yes, that's gonna.
Yeah. So go ahead and put her just in front of the racket and put racket last. So all the remaining 6 or.
I have to see if she's around. She, I mean, she was going to be away as well, so.
All right, so
I'll
that's
see if
7.
he's here, then
I will take her. 7 historic. Then the food pantry. Or the rental assistance. And then the racket club. We'll get those out.
And then round 3 will be all the
All
open
the
space.
open space.
Okay,
Yeah, she's the only affordable housing one.
might take a while,
clearly.
Which one?
all of them,
Open space?
if they're
They're very
kind of
interesting.
unique
Very
projects.
unique projects.
Yeah.
And a lot of money.
Maybe this is the year we give.
All about open space, baby.
Yeah, we may actually have open space. I gotta ask Brian how much open space we have left.
There's gotta be some.
Yeah,
I mean, last year I know we gave them 400,000, but
yeah, but we also, guys, we have about 1.2 million in reserve.
there was a year where we had no open space applications, if I recall. One of my earlier,
Maybe
Yeah,
one.
we've been spending that money as we go along because there was nobody to spend it on.
but we've never
Here.
spent more than 400,000 on open space since I've been on this, I'm sure prior to that.
No,
We
we
did,
have,
before that, we did.
Prior.
We've participated in the buying the FAA property. and-
No, I understand, but I'm saying, and I don't want to prolong this, but there was a year when there was nothing since I've been on, and then subsequently there were years where we went to the max 400, but
Right.
we did not meet the asks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So there should be.
because we always, leave stuff in it, and then we
Reserve.
put stuff in undesignated reserves, and that's what we have, about 1 million, maybe 2 in undesignated reserves. But keep in mind, guys, we're gonna pull at least 500 off the top of this to service the first 2 bonds. I have no desire to service the 3rd one at this point, given what we've been asked for this year. Because he said we could stop, he said we could stockpile in the 3rd one, but we don't know.
Should know
Yeah.
this now.
So I will find out some figures.
We adjourn?
Do you want to make a motion to adjourn?
So move, roll call.
And who's second? Who's seconded? Eleanor seconded. All those in favor, Tim,
Aye.
Neville,
Hi.
Tom,
Hi.
Connie?
Aye.
Eleanor?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Jesse?
Aye.
Myself. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good work.
Take one.
Good work. So be prepared.
Thanks, Brian.